The focus has been on Anthropic for, I don't know, like 2 days, but Microsoft's cooking. They are really starting to push on areas that other companies just can't because they have GitHub, and GitHub, that's leverage. So let's talk about it. What am I insinuating? What am I getting at here? I'm getting at the new models release. Now, it's been out for a little bit, but I have not been testing it until today. And I wanted to share because as we developers try to figure out all the tips and tactics and new extension here and new prompt there, we can get overwhelmed. And I've been shouting this for the last couple of weeks of how do we keep it simple, right? KISS. And so the closer that it gets to GitHub, the better, in my opinion. And this is a great leap forward with their new GitHub models. So find and experiment with AI models for free. About GitHub models, essentially what it does is it allows you to store a file type with a certain .prompt, .yaml, or YML, either one. And if your repository is private, then you essentially get a Vercel playground like thing. So if you've played with the Vercel playground, then you know what I'm talking about, where you have the different models and you can fiddle around with them. You've probably built one of these yourself. And this being under version control is just such a game changer. So let's read about it. It's a workspace lowering the barrier to enterprise grade AI adoption. It helps you move beyond isolated experimentation by embedding AI development directly into familiar GitHub workflows. Yeah. If you've watched this channel, then you know I was talking about Cursor forever. But what's crazy is the more that Cursor ships, the more buggy I find it. I still want to give it another shot next week with the remote agent stuff, but I'm finding Augment actually to be far more performant and reliable. But if you've watched this before, you know that I've mentioned this dot instructions thing here. And that file extension allows you to then tag those prompts within your Copilot. But because I'm using Augment, because their context engine is just bananas, I don't have a real need for the dot instructions thing. But now they've added another one. So if you have .prompt.yml and you pop one of these open, then this will enable a new tab in your GitHub called models. And in here you can do the name. This is just the example one. The name, the description, the model that you're using, the parameters within that. So everything that you'd expect to see in a playground is just right in here. And then you can actually provide a string of messages. So a lot of the time, if you've made prompts and you've worked in playgrounds before, you know that it's helpful to have some back and forth. So that way, if this is called, it has that message stack in there. So this is really important for anyone that is using prompts, which is most people watching this channel. If you're using them in your products, especially, they're very helpful. And it is fun. Like this is just going, right? You guys probably noticed that I have old Augie just ripping here, but it's fantastic. We've seemed it's going to have this one issue. I'll go in there and fix it. But back to here. So it allows you to do a set of features to support prompt iteration, evals. So did they just delete a bunch of eval software? Because it's literally tied in there. I think the only Achilles tendon thing here is if you have privacy nuts, but it's on a private repo, but still people that sign some terms of service that are a neck beard are going to be like, I can't have that. I can't have you training on my stuff. But you have prompt development directly in a structured editor that supports system instructions, test inputs, and variable configuration. You have model comparison, so test multiple models side by side with identical prompts and inputs, experiment with different outputs. Evaluators use scoring metrics such as similarity, relevance, and groundedness to analyze outputs and track performance. That's a huge one because that's how you get cost reduction while also increasing the output of the desired return. Prompt configuration, so you can save prompt, model, and parameter inside that file. Pretty dope. And then something I find really interesting with Microsoft's approach lately, where they have APIs for all these things, but also the open source element of Copilot coming. That's going to be next month. It's the first month of their financial quarters next month. Pretty excited for that because then you can actually do tool calls within their generative language API. So it looks like I couldn't figure this out, so I'll go back and fix this. But what that would mean in the case of Copilot is if I pop this open and then I did an @ I can actually write my own tool, which is really cool. Very cool. And it would be actually in here. It's not the @ it's a slash. But that's what you can see here with these Mermaid. And like Mermaid is one that supports extensions. But you could write something in there that is your personal tool set. And that's what I think bigger companies are going to be doing. Is Zuck mentioned that the majority of their code is being written by their company copilots, but those are custom tools that are trained on their code base. You can think of it as like a giant mixture of a state machine with a bunch of embeddings, but also re-rankers and all that stuff. Go watch a Cursor video of the founders explaining it. But if you go read the Augment Code blog, that explains it pretty well. And so to use that, you flip this on, and then you have to have a private repository. So yeah, put that in there. You get all these things. Pretty freaking cool. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about on their blog, let's just see here. So I finally found it. This would be a UI of how it actually works. So then you can see a comparison side by side. Obviously, GPT-4.1 is going to be more expensive, so you would expect it off the bat to be better. It's running on the main branch, and then you can see that similar to different types of workflows, you have the status of it. So it would be running that eval and then providing you with the score that you can yourself dictate. So you might have a relevancy score, you might have something different. And let's just watch this quick video.
Changes to the prompt and commit the changes like any other code. The Compare tab lets you run experiments to understand how variations in your prompts and which models you use affect the output. You may notice that this page already has some sample data, and that's because we included it in the .prompt.yaml file as test data. I can add additional prompts to see side by side how different models, parameters, system, and user prompts perform. You can also apply evaluators to quickly see what combinations meet your desired output and see it directly in the dataset grid, which we'll look at in just a moment. The existing evaluator uses an LLM as a judge, resulting in either a pass or a fail. Let's see how the evaluators are shown when running two different variations, in this case, two different models.
What's funny about this is I literally was, let's see, where's my Excalibur? Was drawing this to make it. I don't know where it is, but it had inputs, outputs, and intent. So awesome that we don't have to build that because it's just in there now, which is very cool. Let's get back.
You can see here that all four requests, both prompts against both inputs, have all had that one evaluator pass, as well as some other metadata about each request. Organization admins can allow all models or specify a list to allow or disallow. This is a lovely way to collaborate on prompts with everyone in your team. And once you're ready to implement a prompt in your project, you can use code snippets provided in the models page and use over 40 models with just your GitHub account.
That's bananas. So start playing around with that. And I think it's going to change the way that a lot of us build. If you learn one thing in this video, make sure you like it. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, then you should definitely subscribe and consider joining VAI. It's a private builders network where we get together, we learn together, we have workshops, and we build together. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.